So the palace of Hastinapura filled with boys, 5 sons of Pandu, 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, 105 princes growing up under one roof in a storm of games and noise. And in every game, one boy stood out like a bull among calves, Bhima, son of the wind god, born with more strength than he knew what to do with. And what he did with it mostly was torment his cousins. He would seize Duryodhana and the other Kauravas by the hair and drag them about, thump them, sit on them, all of it. To Bhima, hilarious. To a boy that strong, everything is a toy, including other boys. In the water, he was worse. A magnificent swimmer, Bhima would wrap an armful of Kauravas against his chest, dive to the bottom of the pool, and sit there, calm as a rock, while they thrashed until they were half drowned. Then up he'd come, roaring with laughter, towing his gasping, furious cousins. If they fled up a tree, that was no refuge either. Bhima would plant himself at the trunk and kick it. One boy's kick against a full-grown tree, and the tree would shudder and let go of its Kauravas like ripe mangoes in a gale. He collected his cousins off the ground, grinning. But here is the thing about a joke. It depends entirely on which end of it you live. The 100 sons of Dhritarashtra woke sore every morning of their childhood, and what Bhima called play, they called humiliation. Hatred does not need a great cause to take root. Bruises will do. Daily bruises over years. In time, the princes were placed under Kripacharya, who trained them in archery and the disciplines of arms and kingship. The romping boys became young warriors. But training sharpens whatever a boy already carries. And while the others were learning weapons, Duryodhana was quietly sharpening a grudge. For Duryodhana had done his succession arithmetic, and it kept coming out wrong. His father was blind, so Pandu had ruled. Pandu's heir was Yudhishthira. Therefore Yudhishthira, not he, would one day be king, unless something changed. And the surest change, he reasoned, was to remove the Pandav's strength. And their strength had a name, Bhima. So a boy's grudge grew up into a plan of murder. Drown Bhima. With him gone, imprison Yudhishthira and Arjuna. Then take the kingdom and let the world adjust. Duryodhana gathered his brothers into the secret, and the 100 nodded. Not one of them said, "Cousin, this is a line we do not cross." The trap wore the face of a holiday. "Come," said Duryodhana sweetly. "Let us all go swimming in the Ganga. Cousins together, like the old days." The princes raced and wrestled in the bright water the whole afternoon. And when they tired, they came ashore 2 tents and a feast laid out with particular care. Especially for Bhima. Bhima had played hardest, as always, and eaten most, as always. And the food set before him was laced with poison. Drowsiness rolled over the big body like a tide. He stretched out on the river bank to rest his eyes for a moment, and the moment closed over him. He never felt the hands that came after. Duryodhana worked fast. He lashed the sleeping giant with tough wild creepers, arm to arm, ankle to ankle, and rolled him from the bank into the Ganga. The splash swallowed itself. The river closed, and the prince stood watching the ripples fade with nothing on his face at all. He had even prepared the riverbed. Sharp spikes stood planted beneath the swimming spot, set there days before, so the falling body would impale itself. Every detail thought through, except the one that mattered. Bhima struck the water a few arm lengths wide of the killing ground and sunk past the spikes into the dark, untouched. Down in the depths, the river's poisonous water snakes found the intruder and struck him again and again. And here fate performed its strangest arithmetic. Venom met the poison already in Bhima's blood, and the two cancelled like debts. The bindings loosened, The current gathered him up, and the Ganga laid her foster child gently on a far bank. Alive, Duryodhan walked home glowing. Spikes, snakes, poison, the great river itself. No one could survive all that. Bhima was finished, and the future was suddenly deliciously simple. The party returned to Hastinapura with songs, and the city noticed nothing except that the princess seemed in remarkably high spirits. But Yudhishthir counted heads and came up one short. "Where is Bhima?" he asked. "Oh, he went ahead of us, back to the city," Duryodhan answered smoothly. It was smoothly done. Yudhishthir believed him, the way honest men believe, and hurried home all the same, with a small cold doubt riding along. "Mother, is Bhima home?" The look on Kunti's face answered before her words did. He had never arrived, and the small cold doubt in Yudhishthir's chest bloomed into dread. A brother missing, a cousin lying, a river between them. The eldest Pandav was learning, too young, how the world around him actually worked. The brothers went back out and searched. The woods, the banks, the water's edge, calling Bhima's name into the falling dark until the name itself began to sound like grief. Nothing. They came home hollow, and Kunti held her 3 remaining sons and the twins that night as if arms could be walls. And then, days later, the door filled with the familiar mountain. Bhima trudged in, mud-streaked, creeper-scarred, and grinning, and the house exploded with joy. Kunti wept into his chest. Yudhishthir gripped him and would not let go. Strangest of all, the venom had settled into his frame as new power. Bhima had come back stronger. Quietly, Kunti sent for the one man in Hastinapura she trusted with the truth. "Vidura, Duryodhan tried to murder my son for a throne. What do I do?" And Vidura, justice itself in human form, gave counsel that tasted bitter and was wise. "Say nothing. Accuse him, and his hatred only doubles. Your sons are destined for long life. Guard them in silence." Yudhishthir gave Bhima the same order. "Not a word, brother. From today we watch, we stay close, we protect one another, quietly." So the Pandavas learned to live smiling among enemies. And Duryodhan? He saw Bhima striding the palace halls, alive and larger than ever, and something in him sickened. He had crossed the line into murder and gained nothing, except a hatred now too deep to ever climb out of.